What is going on, guys? Weekend video. I don't know how long this is gonna be, this video, but I know most of the people that are subscribed to me are, you know, probably on the same boat as me when it comes to trading, or maybe just barely starting off, or maybe you're just profitable already and just like watching YouTube videos about trading, right? But this video is going to be about beginner trader psychology, right? And most importantly, wanted to start off by saying I'm not no guru, I'm not no mentor. Um, of course, there are more people that have more knowledge than me. All of this is just personal experience and just from like me journaling and me just like thinking, right? Just having some time to reflect on, like where I've been or like where I was the last few 3 to 4 months, right, compared to where I am now. So, um, the first thing to talk about is the goal of trading and trying to get to the finish line as fast as possible, right? So, oftentimes when you barely get into trading, you see all these influencers flexing. They're starting to like they post. You see them living a certain lifestyle, and one thing to notice is that all of that did not happen overnight, right? Or within a year. Now, shout out to those who become rich within 6 months to a year, but let's be honest. The reality is, it definitely takes more than a year to get to that point, right? So, when I first started trading, I was so caught up in making money fast. I wanted to skip the process, and skipping the process and just trying to get to the finish line as soon as possible would keep setting me back further away from the finish line, right? I did not have a trading plan. My strategy was horrible. And most importantly, my psychology was not in check. And that's what this video is going to be about. Mostly just psychology, okay? The reason why you're skipping everything and jumping into psychology is because what I can tell you really, you can pick a strategy, stick to one strategy, understand the ins and outs, and make it your own because everyone sees the market differently. So all of that just comes to screen time, just making sure you come up every morning, bright and early, just back tests or forward tests. But really, the progress you think you're making gets instantly deleted if you're at poor psychology. Okay, so hear me out. Again, this is just from personal experience. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have lived through it as well. But give me a sec. So you can start off the week. You're having a good week. And again, this is from personal experience. I was having a good week. I was up around $1,000 for the week. Okay, it was a Friday. Now, keep in mind, it could be this applies to any other day, right? But just from my personal experience, it was a Friday. And I take a bad trade, and now my account is red for the day. And I know this happens to a lot of you guys, or especially maybe if you guys have your psychology a little bit more in check. It happened to you guys before in the past. But after I take that first bad trade, something in my brain just triggers and tells me, go find another trade and make back what you lost and then more, right? So now this is where things start to fall apart, especially if you don't have your psychology in check, right? So now after that bad trade, I'm just so eager to jump into another trade, right? So after that first initial trade, now my account's red. Now, one thing I have noticed is the most dangerous trade that you can take is the one right after a losing trade. Literally the one right after. And I wrote down in my journal, and this just kept happening because I would take a trade and I would just start revenge trading. My emotions would get out. Now, one of two things would happen, or maybe both of them. You start to wait for a setup, a setup, a quote unquote setup. And the reason why I do like the quote unquote setup thing is because after the first bad trade, your emotions start to show, and you start to see things in the market, and you start to overanalyze, and you start to see things that are not there, and you end up taking up another bad trade. You're just so eager to jump. You're just so eager to look for a potential trade, take it, and just pray for the best. Right? Their second trade is the least informed, with the least amount of thought, and it's just beyond emotional. Right? Now that second trade is absolutely deadly. So that's one. Or you can start gambling, which is absolutely the worst thing you can do. Especially if you go heavier in size and you try to make it all back. And then you don't get me wrong. Sometimes you can revenge trade while gambling. You might get lucky and you might be break even, you might make some and more, right? But most of the time, it is going to bite you in the ass. I promise you 80% of the time it's going to bite you in the ass. Revenge trading is just the absolute worst, right? So let's rewind back. So you took the first trade. Now your emotions start to get to you. You either gamble or you just gamble, right? Or you start to see potential setups, and then because you're just so eager to look for a trade, and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna take that. And it's just the second trade is absolutely the worst trade that there possibly is. So now the profits that you've been making throughout the entire week, the profits I made the entire week, are absolutely thrown in 5 minutes. Think about it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I was having a good week, solid. In 5 minutes, out the drain. In 5 minutes, all of my money just out the drain. All because, no, it's not no strategy. If I had such a good week the entire time using the strategy, it's not the strategy, it's the psychology, right? And that just ripples down into like little subparts. So again, after your first bad loss, in your head, or in my head, was all I hear is, I can't end red. I want my money now. And then that's just like, it just keeps happening, right? That's all you hear in your head. And then there's just so much emotion within every trade after that bad first trade. And you start to lose, and you start to basically lose yourself. And eventually I would blow my account. Eventually I would blow my account, and I would just absolutely beat myself down. I'd be like, dude, what in the world am I doing? Because now it's just setting you back farther away from the finish line. You think you're making progress, but just because you have bad psychology, it just sets you back, right? Now, sometimes, again, you can't end the day green or break even from revenge trading or whatever, but you have to reflect on yourself and be like, was that really smart of me? Like, yeah, I ended the day green, but is that really an actual win long term, right? So once I started to think long term, don't get me wrong, I'm not profitable. I'm far from profitable. Yes, I have gotten some payouts, but I am far from where I want to be. Like, really far from where I want to be. So I started to think long term. I started to think, I wanted to reach that finish line. And don't get me wrong, there's other subparts too, with like, there's revenge trading, you have over leveraging and stuff like that. But right now we're just talking about revenge trading, because at that time I had no psychology. I'm being set back farther away from the finish line just because I wanted to be profitable now. Just because I wanted to end the week off on a good note, and I ended the week off on a bad note because I blew the entire account. You know what I mean? Because when you start trading, you start to paint a picture of just, oh, influencers this guy has that car, this guy lives nice, this guy lives lavish, blah blah blah. You want to be there as soon as possible. And again, being rich doesn't happen overnight, right? You get rich, whatever your goal is, it's very slow, right? The turtle wins the race, and you just have to make sure you take your time and enjoy the progress. You get rich slowly, right? And a lot of time, especially with me, was I was just trying to rush the progress. I would not like ending days off red. Um, and there are ways to overcome that, right? I mean, take one bad trade. I don't know, go eat breakfast, come back, collect yourself, come back, and then with a clear mind, and then you can, if you see a trade or a setup, go ahead and take it, right? It's just the time frame from your first bad trade and your second trade should have, there should be a good amount of time between the first trade and the second trade. And one thing I started to do was, if I take a bad trade, I'd probably just most likely call it a day. Probably most likely call it a day. Or I just step out, get some orange juice, come back, stuff like that. So, again, we're just tying it back to what we were talking in the beginning, just, just being caught up in making money fast, just because trading is pictured as this escape way to, fucking living a certain lifestyle. But it definitely takes time. From the start point to the finish line, there's just so many phases you have to go through. And I'm not saying I'm I'm halfway there, or I'm 75% there. No, I'm far from where I want to be. But what I'm trying to say is, after, going through the progress and going through those setbacks of me revenge trading, blowing up my account, now I'm back to square one. And then I make progress again. I mess up because I have bad psychology, back to square one. You know what I mean? So it's just my journal, definitely everyone should journal. I really think everyone should journal, just because I'm making this video just because of my journal. I reread my journal. I'm just damn. And I started to think about from where you start and your potential finish line, where you want to be, end game. And damn, it's absolutely crazy. What you could just do is just sitting and just thinking about, just rereading your old journal, your emotions. Because on my journal, I have down why did I do this? Absolutely, why did I take this trade? Why did I take a trade 30 seconds later? And it was an absolute horrible trade. It was just no thought behind that trade. Just enter, boom, lose more money. All right, bro. Enter another trade, heavier size, wanting to make all of that back. Nope. Caught on the bad side of the trade, blew the account. And yeah, so this is just again, not no guru. This is just just my progress, or just my thought process of just relating back onto just making sure you have a good psychology long term, because it's definitely one of the key aspects from a new trader to a good profitable trader. Just making sure you have your mental in check and holding yourself accountable to your trading plan or whatever it is. And yeah, because at the end of the day, defense wins games, right? You take a loss the first day on the first trade, just call it, you could trade tomorrow. But if you keep revenge trading, there probably won't be another tomorrow, because you already blew that account, and then you have to buy a new account and you have to start all over again. And then it just ripples and it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And that's just, again, setting you back farther away from the finish line. So just remember, baby steps. Hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable. And just, reach the finish line slowly, with progress, with slow like a steady incline. And I think that's the absolute best way to, you know, to like to gut your check yourself. You're like where you're like how much progress you're making. Because if I think I'm already at the finish line because I'm sizing heavy and I'm getting lucky on all these trades, that's not realistically long term. No, because there is a lot of luck in trading, and there's a thing called beginner's luck, and it's like when you start off, you think you're making money, right? You're doing so good, and it gets to a point where you just absolutely lose everything, right? So, so just make sure like there's less luck and more of you, right? You want to like trading is literally you versus you at the end of the day. Like your strategy, you could have whatever strategy. You could trend lines, bull flags. I don't know. You could scalp for 5 points and you'll be profitable. But really, what matters is the psychology part of things. And it will literally set you back, right? So that's it for this video. I appreciate you guys. This is more of a, you know, just a reminder. I know most of you guys know this already, but I feel like it's good to hear it again, right? To have like, you know, have someone tell you and stuff like that. Because I know I definitely enjoy that because I watch videos as well. And it's like, I know those things and they're talking about it and it just like re-clicks in my head again. I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? So it's like a nice breeze, right? But appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I'm about to go study for my exam. So, late.